flame, but this thing's in the game.
What's your name?
Consequence, I'm tight, burnt like flames.
And why's that?
American dream, they got this ghetto kid in the fiend.
Don't stress that, cause it's not in your bloodstream. Your whole being comes from greatness, who remember? Jay Song got you caught in the storms of December. And brothers on the block packing nines like September. Change the situation, keep the pockets all slender.
I'm Sasha Nicole.
And I'm Star.
And this is Amerikan Therapy, the definitive podcast on all things Black mental health.
Ooh, that hit different.
It did.
This week, right?
We are finally back in the studio, y'all. We haven't been in the studio in a while. We've been on travel. Our HBCU mental health tour has been kicking off. We just came from Tennessee State University.
How about them Tigers?
Yes, and we were just on the news this morning. Great Day, Washington.
What?
Absolutely. So we're super excited. We have a great show today.
Yes.
And again, as always, please make sure you follow us, Amerikan Therapy, on Instagram. That's with a K. Our website, check it out. And we're going to be putting some video content up soon on the YouTube as well. So you definitely gotta check us out. So, Star, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we're talking about on the journey to healing using travel, leisure, and I hope I get this right, and relaxation and joy as a mechanism to heal. So, did I do okay?
Yeah, you did great.
Whew, okay.
All right, so we have none other than Shay SANE. She's the founder of Black Girls on the Go. Helping women heal personal pain through sisterhood and travel is Shay SANE's life's mission. After losing her own sister and combating compounded personal stress, Shay was faced with two decisions: to either stay in her environment and suffer in silence, or change her environment and become transparent about her depression. She made the life-changing decision to change her environment through travel and to release her pain through transparent conversations with other women experiencing life obstacles. Abandonment, emotional trauma, and depression are all familiar to Shay SANE, who was abandoned by her mother and found herself looking for love in all the wrong places, which led to teenage pregnancy and years of living with a deep void of emotional pain. Through childhood pain, loss of a loved one, and emotional pain, Shay SANE discovered travel as an outlet to self-healing and has not looked back. She spent the last 20 years traveling around the world. After experiencing the transformative healing power of sisterhood and traveling, she founded Black Girls on the Go, a sacred traveling movement designed to foster sisterhood, self-improvement, and personal transformation through emotional healing. Shay SANE's story is a personal testament of how any woman can turn pain into purpose. To date, Shay has amassed a tribe of over 20,000, but that thing says 200,000. 200,000 women
200
who desire to heal and build sisterly bonds through travel. Her accomplishments have not gone unnoticed. She's created an outlet for Black women to heal, has been featured in things like Black Enterprise, and she's also been selected to participate in Facebook's Leadership Summit.
Wow.
She's born and raised in the nation's capital and currently resides in D.C. And
drum roll. Who we got?
We got our favorite author, host, Dr. Royster, clinician, teacher, innovator, long-standing commitment to healthy neighborhoods, culturally competent care, and the reduction of healthcare disparities and expansion of health equity. She's a leader who gets things done and understands the need for treating everyone with dignity and respect. She just still won't be my counselor. Dr. Royster has worked in government, academic, and community settings, so she knows how to teach people in whatever space they are starting from. She graduated from Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine and completed both her general psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry residencies at New York University Bellevue Hospital Medical Center in New York City. Say that 10 times. Dr. Royster is the mom to two amazing teenage girls, and you can reach her on Instagram at Dr. T for a Better World, and that's with the number 4, and at Twitter, Tanya A. Royster, MD, and check out her website at www.abetterworlddrt.com.
All right now.
Let's get it started. So Shay, thank you for joining us today. So you, being the founder of Black Girls on the Go, tell us a little bit more exactly about what your mission is with Black Girls on the Go, what that looks like, and you know how you are also helping to heal others with that movement.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, for
Get up on that mic.
Get up on that mic like it's a...
You know what it is. We're naughty.
Oh, God.
you ladies are very naughty. I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for that at all.
So what you been doing since we've been gone?
Nothing. I'm still looking.
She has a glow.
I'm still looking.
Somebody beating that thing.
Like a drummer. I'm sorry.
Shay, tell us how is Black Girls on the Go helping us heal?
Well, the mission of Black Girls on the Go is to expose Black women to the healing power of travel. And healing is an amazing journey. Once you start walking that walk, you're going to open doors that you thought were closed. But as you continue your healing, you will become renewed, restored, and you'll be able to step into your purpose and who you were meant to be.
So how do you help other women heal when they come on traveling adventures with you? Like, do you do like specific activities? Like, do you talk about your experiences and how you became the founder of this? Like, where does how does it all drive it home for other women who are also looking for healing by traveling?
Well, one of the things, I am very intentional about the women that I bring together in a space, because it's important to be in a space where you feel comfortable, you're with like-minded people. So I'm very intentional, and I do screening of anyone that travels with me just to make sure that the dynamics of the group is not going to be missed. And I share with people who I am. So from the gate, they understand who I am and what the expectations are when you travel with me, so that it makes it easier for us to collaborate and support one another in our healing and whatever that may be. So intentional travel is a big focus of what I do with the women. I encourage them to identify, what's your reason for traveling, whether you're needing just a break from your life, from your kids, from your man, from a broken relationship, if you're grieving, if you just are stressed, overworked, identify what your intentions are for traveling so that you can focus in on what you want to get out of this vacation, or what I call Travsperience, which is a transformational travel experience.
That's a lot.
Oh, I thought she was gonna say Travsperience like somebody like me could go.
Oh no.
I think
we
my
would
screening
be-
application would be denied.
I think both of us would be like, denied.
No, everybody's
Just have to be with the
everybody's
right
welcome.
people.
Yeah, there you go.
So when you say like you share who you are and what your expectations are, what so someone who's listening, they're interested, they're like, yeah, like I was just telling you, I've been dying to go on like this travel experience with a group of women. Who are you, and what would be your expectations? What was someone who's interested? What would that look like for them wanting to participate?
Right. Well, for me, I've dealt with a lot of trauma in my life. As you mentioned in reading my bio, I was abandoned by my mom. I became pregnant at 16, had my daughter, and she became part of my focus for living. Bad relationships. I've dealt a lot with grief in my life. I lost my first sister when she was 38. I was 28. She left behind a 6-year-old son who I later adopted. The biggest tragedy of her death is that she died the day after Christmas. And she left behind a 6-year-old son. So my focus was trying to make sure that he got the proper care and healing that he needed. So in order for us to not have to grieve too much for her, the anniversary of her death, I took my kids, my nephew, who's now my son, we all went to Disney World, and we started traveling. We started doing family vacations that, after Christmas, just so that we didn't have the trauma from that. And I immediately, because of the things that I did not get in my own childhood, I immediately signed him up for therapy. And he went to see a therapist for at least 4 years. And after a while, there's like, he don't have any issues. He's happy, and he's content. And so that just made it more true for me that travel can allow all of us to heal from whatever trauma or dilemmas that we're going through in life. And for the women that travel with me, a lot of us are carrying around a lot of baggage, and we need the escape. And so traveling with me will offer you that escape. A lot of us are afraid to travel because it can be traumatic in itself, and a lot of anxieties come up when you're thinking about traveling. But when you know that you're traveling with someone that's experienced at traveling, that's going to be there to support you in your travel journey as well as your healing, you feel more comfortable. And I actually encourage women to travel solo with the group because sometimes we need to leave our baggage behind, because every walk that we take is not meant for our friends, our mothers, or others that we center ourselves with every day. So,
Wow. So what is your journey? Like, how did you traveled with your children? How did you heal through that? Was it just the travel, or was it therapy? I'm being nosy. I like getting in people's business.
I do a combination of both.
Okay.
And one of the things that I say, and a lot of people, they was like, oh, well, you talk about travel therapy. I was like, no, it's not just about traveling. Yeah. For me, I see a psychiatrist. I have a therapist that I have, and she's on speed dial.
Amen.
She's
Amen. Speed dial therapist.
Yes, and she's really amazing. And, travel combined with those three things allowed me to, one, understand and establish boundaries with people.
Oh,
and it took me over 40 years to identify that I wasn't establishing clear boundaries with people. So therefore, I put myself in situations where I was violated, compromised, being disrespected or used. But that's one of the things I can tell you that I learned in all of my years of therapy.
No.
I love the concept of this because, I was saying to Shay right before we got started, a young lady that I coach, I told her yesterday, she's just suffering a significant loss, and one of the assignments that I gave her was to do something intentionally fun every week, because fun is the first pathway to healing. Ooh. You have to let go, you have to get out of your space, and you create and remind yourself that there's something different than the pain that you're struggling with all the time or the baggage that you're carrying. So I love this idea that we could use travel, because travel is fun in general. And it also, I would imagine, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, Shay, when you go to a new place, you can start to imagine yourself in different ways, right? It exposes and opens you up to things that you may not be able to do on your own in your normal environment.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, a lot of my travel has been solo. I've traveled to Cuba solo.
Really?
Had an amazing time.
Wow.
Amazing time. And travel for me also allowed me to tap into power that I didn't know I had. Here I am, I'm a native Washingtonian, born and raised, graduated from Cardozo High School.
All right now.
I'm a clerk all my life, went to University of Maryland. And for me, I've come back from, countries like, Paris or France or Greece. And I'm like, okay, if I can travel internationally and not really speak a lot of the languages, I can come home and deal with all this stuff that I'm having to deal with like a cakewalk. So it gives you really a sense of empowerment when you pull that passport out and you're in a foreign country trying to figure your way around. But more importantly, when you're trying to figure your way around and you're looking to your left or your right, and you have sisters that look like you, and you all are walking the same journey.
I can see that.
When you said that a lot of women who come on the travel experiences, a lot of them are carrying baggage, whatever that may be, do you do any type of focus on healing during the trip to try to address some of the baggage that may be coming with them?
That I do. I have a couple of different books that I like to use that are written by, in most cases, a therapist. And Ashley McGirt is one. She wrote a book that's called I Tried to Travel It Away, and it's a workbook. And it has you to go through a series of questions about, how you feel, your thoughts, what do you want for yourself? And what we've done is we'll just take that book out, and I'll ask everybody to share their answers to some of the exercises in the book, and we just start talking. We just did a Mediterranean cruise, fabulous. We flew into Rome, and we did 8 nights, amazing ship. Wow. And every night we had dinner together, and we laughed, we cried. Out of the group of 16, I think at least 12 of us had been divorced.
Wow.
One was actually going through a divorce. She was still living in the house with her husband.
Ooh,
one
that
had
hurts.
been divorced and had been married for 20-something years, and she's learning to co-manage, co-parenting. Yeah. And so from the exercises, from some of the books that we had, we would share those things and those experiences so that we can get to know one another, more directly. And it just really allowed the conversation to flow. And it's probably the only complaint I got from the group is that we didn't spend enough time together.
Really?
They really honestly.
That's a good trip because I've been on a black girl trip. I was like, if I see these bitches one more day.
That's violent.
It is.
You know, for our listeners who don't know, I my favorite word is the B word. I'm like too short. And Star always gets on me and is like, that's violent. Don't call me a bitch. And I'm like, bitch, what you And so anytime that I catch her saying that word now, I eat it up. I'm like, oh, that's violent.
That's violent. I'm like, old tape,
Yes.
But you see how I took that night to work.
That's right.
That's growing, right?
That's
We're growing.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, I love this idea of travel because, like, Sasha, she's the world traveler over here. Like, how has travel helped you? Is this something that you can definitely attest to? Like,
you know, I was telling Shay when we sat down, I was like, when people talk about what's their vice, like traveling is really my vice. Yeah. Like, I will pay the bills, and any dollar bill that I got left, I will spend it on travel. It does something for me, and I don't know if that is because I need some therapy or what, but it's something that if I'm not traveling at least once every few months, like, I actually get extremely depressed.
Really?
Very.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
And
do
it
too.
doesn't have to be like,
I can relate to that.
I don't have to be going to like Greece or Cuba and places that I've been. It's like, even if it's just like a weekend trip, like us going out to LA, it's like, I gotta be flying out. I just gotta get on a plane or driving somewhere with a distance and checking into a hotel, just doing something that really just feeds me. It really feeds me. And so,
I like that.
You know, for my husband who, it don't feed him nothing. He's very just like turned off by the idea. For him, he looks at travel as a burden.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta leave this house. I'm a homebody.
I gotta unpack. I gotta, go through customs. I gotta stand in these long lines, and then like when we were in Ethiopia, the
Drop
customs
that pause
was crazy.
when we was in where?
Ethiopia.
It was a pause.
So my Africa World Tour. But anyway, no, but he for some people they really don't like it, but for me, like it is like air. It's for
Really?
me. Yeah. It's which is crazy. I've never said that out loud because I felt like most people don't understand because they're like, why?
But
I think it's as Shay mentioned, I like the word transformational, especially how you're describing it, Sasha, because it's an opportunity for you to transform, right? It's an opportunity for you to open up. It's an opportunity for you to create, invent yourself, parts of yourself. I also like the reference to empowerment, because a lot of times when we go to new situations, we force ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we have no choice but to do something or try something. Like if you want to eat when you go to France, you're going to have to figure out how to say a couple words in French.
You can find a
Or
McDonald's.
point, or ask somebody, but
Right.
you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone.
That's
And
true.
when we're here, we don't do that. We go to the same places, we do the same things. And I think that's definitely one of the reasons that making the women go solo so they can't lean on their crutches. Sometimes our girlfriends, our sisters, our moms, they can be our crutches and they can keep us bound.
That's true.
And so this is, it's so fabulous.
Yeah, I think it's a way to like you feel, I think for me, and tell me if it's the same for you, like I feel alive. Like I feel like if I haven't gone to the therapy, the moment that I touch down in a new country, I feel a sense of peace. I feel a sense of healing of whatever it is that I may be hurting from or dealing with at home. I really just feel like a whole different like soul. Like I'm like,
Well, let me ask this, okay? I'm gonna play the other side of this, right? For the other people that are listening, is like, there's always a contrarian. So, which is, I guess,
That
my
would
role. It is me. So, how do we know when we're traveling for joy and relaxation and like a new experience and change versus when we're like traveling to escape something? Like, when is it like, because I've seen both. Or, no, my opinion is that I've seen both. I don't know that I've seen both.
I would think the majority is sometimes you are escaping most of the time.
Okay.
I don't think.
And who says that's bad?
Ooh.
Get in it, Dr. Royster.
Right. Sometimes we need an escape. If you're bound, right? If we use that word, if you think about you're in a situation, and is an escape a good thing? even if it's temporary.
That's true. That's
But then
true.
from a psychology standpoint, what happens when you've traveled to escape, but when you come back now you're back in whatever it was that you're escaping from?
Right.
How do you take that feeling of like, I feel alive in this country, but I feel dead back at home?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what you do and how you process it. So if you use that escape to build your strength,
Okay.
right, to deal with whatever it is you need to deal with at home, then that can be a good thing, right? So you may go there, you may refuel, rejuvenate, and then you come home and you can figure out how to deal with what you're dealing with. Many times, though, we do fall back in the same habits and we fall back in the same rhythms and we don't make changes. And so it would be important, if you're using it as an escape, to make sure that you think about your strategies, right? And sometimes, escape isn't always, an instant thing. So some people may need to escape 18 times before it sticks.
Escape.
Right.
You know what? I'm
Before
not
it
coming
sticks.
home.
I mean, we think about that with women who have a history of domestic violence. Most of the time, they don't leave the first time.
That's right.
They come back. And that doesn't mean that they won't ever leave, but it just means that it didn't happen all the way that time. And so this could be, the very same thing if you think about it. Escape is a way to get your mind together, to refuel, rejuvenate, and take the time, hopefully strategize about how you're going to manage it. And part of the management may be preparing to exit yourself from that.
Okay, I like that because I'm the contrarian here, and I'm like, are we building a life that we're not? Am I living a life that's not worth living? So I'm escaping, but I like that it's a pause so that you can strategize. I like that. Okay.
Right. I mean, you have to do the work as with everything else that we talk about.
Yes.
You have to do the work, or you could just create a cycle where you're just getting away and then almost creating two selves, right?
Yeah, and I know folks that live.
Plenty of people, right? This self that you are when you're away, where you're free and open and brave and courageous, and if you think about it, when you go somewhere else, even if it's another city, you have to be a little brave, right?
That's
you
true.
have to. And the other thing that oftentimes gets reinforced is the power of the positive human experience. People help you when you're in most of the time they reach out to help you. They support you. They want you to have a good experience in their space, in their community. So it reinforces something that you may not be getting at home.
I met Sasha on a trip.
See?
It was definitely not nothing like this. It was the hoodest,
Tank and Keith Sweat were performers. And you remember, was it Tank got mad at Keith Sweat? Oh my goodness, it was so funny.
They got in an argument during the show, and it was in a high school gymnasium.
Oh my God.
And then they had
Like the 5 heartbeats.
It was
different, but it's funny that you mentioned that because I wasn't even thinking that when we were talking about travel, that we met on a local trip. And now what? 15 years later, here we are doing
and it
this.
was the ghettoest trip. And the lady was like, if y'all want to come backstage and meet Keith Sweat, it's cool. I was like, no, I'm good. Because it seemed like there was something else tied to it. Like, you remember that?
I wish I had, because I probably would have gone.
It was literally that kind of trip.
Like he can pick up big joints too. So.
He picked up a big girl and he sang a whole song. With the whole. Do you remember that?
I remember
He was
that. He can lift.
it's no lie. Like we was like, damn. So traveling is beautiful.
Shay, when you amassed this tribe of 200,000 women, what made you want to dedicate this to Black women?
Why not all women? All women matter.
I get that all the time. And for me, I just have to remain true to who I am. And, being a Black woman and having struggled with my mental health for years, it's important to me to help other women. And it's allowed me to become more transparent and to dive deeper into my own healing, because I've shared stuff that I'd never shared before. I recalled some memories that I had suppressed, just in conversations with other women. And once I started talking about it aloud, I felt good about it.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
How do you, when you are thinking about who would be a good fit on a trip, what are some of the characteristics that you think about when you're like, do you have a different set of people for different trips when you're looking at all the tribe members that you have, or
could you be too, I don't want to say too broken, but like, you know, some people got like some stuff that you don't want to bring on no trip
I
with a
had
bunch
one of those
people.
trips. I had a trip where I had a bunch of broken black women, and it was before I even realized what I stepped into. You know, because as I said, you know, I discovered how powerful healing was just from my own journey. So I wanted to just bring a bunch of black women, like, come on and go. You know, and one of my first trips that I did a trip to Paris. It was like $1,600, included your air, your hotel, and attracted lots of women. But they came, and it was no fault of theirs. I was not intentional as to what I wanted them to get out of the experience. They wanted to just go to Paris, and it just became a bunch of angry, broke women. And I was not prepared to deal with that, nor am I licensed to deal with certain things. And even when I travel today, I let people know that I'm not a licensed therapist whatsoever, and I strongly encourage people to seek therapy, to seek a professional, get professional advice. I do know that talking in a group setting with women that understand who you are and what you're going through is very important, but there are a lot of broken women, and I've encountered them. I still encounter them. I've learned to recognize it early on because I used to be broken. So when you're looking at a broken person and you see your former self, it's easy to recognize. So
how do you deal with that though on the trip? Because we in another country.
I know what you are.
You acting real stank. I don't know how well this gonna go. How do you deal with that?
In some instances, I allow the travelers to figure it out on their own. I've had instances where I interjected and it became a thing of, oh, Shay said this, Shay said that. So I learned to kind of step back and allow them to figure things out on their own. It's a hard situation to manage. However, because I've done it several times, I've kind of gotten it down to a science, and that's why I do screening. And I have conversations with women. I get to talk to them, they get to talk to me. And it's not a series of questions that I ask them, but I just want to get to understand who you are, what's your interest in traveling with me, what are your expectations. And I've told some people that I can't meet your expectations, so we're not a good fit.
I got you.
Is there any age requirement?
No age requirement. The one thing that I love about what I do is multi-generational. We did a trip experience to Paris October of last year, and I actually had the pleasure of taking my granddaughter who turned 5. And so she was 5, and the oldest person, Miss Helen, was turning 72.
Wow.
And she did a fabulous photo shoot in front of the Eiffel Tower, and it was amazing. We stayed at a boutique hotel, and every time the ladies would come in and out of the hotel, there was always a sister in the lobby just sitting there. So we would conjure up and just have conversations. There were 2 ladies on this particular trip that were widows, and they started talking about that. So everybody's in the lobby just like bawling, and it was just like, to this day, we all are still connected on Facebook. We follow each other on Facebook. We can see into each other's lives, and they're always wishing one another happy birthday, or if somebody's doing something great. It's just amazing, and I don't put an age limit on it, and it tends to work out. You know, we're going to Dubai, and it's going to be a multi-generational trip experience as well.
Wow, I'd love to go to Dubai. We have to talk about that over here.
No. Dubai was fun. Dubai's a good place.
This is the World Traveler Sasha over here. See, you know, I'm like your husband, because I traveled for work for years and like lived all over the world. So for me, it's like, when I say travel, I want to go to the islands. I want to sit on the island, drink,
on the beach,
maybe, you know, smoke something, and like just Just chill. Like, that's all I want to do. But I can see this being transformational. Because I will say, when I lived, like, in different countries, it was good to be like, okay, I done maneuvered through, wherever I was by myself. So I must be pretty strong. So I could see that. This is really dope.
Has there been a favorite country of yours that you felt like brought the most peace to you?
Probably right now, my top is Santorini, Greece.
Ooh, Greece.
Love
Did you just
Santorini.
go from Greece? Okay.
I loved Santorini. That
Now-
was probably the most.
Now let me ask you this, because we're naughty on this show, right? Do you ever have experiences where, like, ladies can? You already started laughing. Well, like, you could. I mean, because some women haven't had.
Were ladies what?
Could, like, have meet a guy or a friend.
A local.
Yes, meet a local for
on what
for
country you in.
enjoyment.
That's right.
And
That's true.
dating, friendship. I'm trying to use the right language here, but like.
Have there ever been any hookups?
Yeah, because some women ain't had that thing, whatever, for a minute.
Not that I know of. I tend to.
She said this is focused on women.
No. I will honestly tell you, on every travel experience I have, we have a minimum of at least one man.
What
minimum.
he doing there?
He's either
somebody's husband or boyfriend?
Somebody's husband. When we went to Paris, I had this young man call me, and he was
people
like,
going after him, like
no.
16 women and one man. That doesn't.
No, he called. He's like, my wife wants to go to Paris. I'm calling to pay for her, but I have a question.
Can I go?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, sure, you can go.
Stay your ass home.
I'm going.
She trying to get away from you.
right.
And
So she ain't having
we
a trap
always
experience.
have men go. And the ladies have a lot of fun together. I think
So
sometimes.
do the men participate in your workbook activities?
No, they
or-
don't.
Okay.
Usually they will do their own thing, and they appreciate being away from a group of
yeah.
women.
I just was in Miami, and my husband and I, we went down there together. But as soon as we got down, like, this was a trip I was doing, not intentionally with him, but was like, oh, the Redskins are playing, you want to come down, but his friends were like, oh, I thought your wife were down here. He was like, man, she living her best life.
Right. Yes. She's not at home. So
We
she's
saw the
happy.
pictures.
That's actually nice. It gives women, the safety and the freedom at the same time. So maybe they're a little bit nervous and uncomfortable, but they don't really want to be there with him.
Exactly.
So they get the best of both worlds.
I don't know. Yeah, Warren and I, we can't do that.
What, separate if you go on a trip?
Nah, they'd be like, we're codependent. Like, we're like, where is he? Where is she at?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Bye.
I travel with my partner often, and the great thing about our relationship is that we both love to travel. He's in Tanzania now.
Wow.
And he comes back on the 25th, and then I leave on the 25th to go to Atlanta. But he is going to Dubai, and then we'll be in Dubai from the 1st through the 8th, and then from the 8th through the 14th, he and I are going to the Maldives together. So,
ooh, I haven't been there. I've been wanting to go there.
so we travel, and he understands and respects who I am, and that I love to travel. And we have this thing that we call being grounded. When we've been on land too long, we both really get depressed.
You get that itch that, like, I want to
It's
get
like,
out.
and I know it for him. When he's grounded, I can tell, because after a while, he's cutting grass, he's planting flowers. It's like, okay, it's time for you to go.
So this is not like a bike week experience. Like, when you say travel to me, I'm thinking like, Black Bike Week.
But it's even
Myrtle
like
Beach.
we were saying earlier, it's just going somewhere.
Yeah, getting
even
out.
if we're not going to, Maldives, we could be going to Phoenix.
Hey.
It's just doing something different, because there's a lot of places domestically that people haven't explored and
Never
realized
been.
that
I was
are.
about to say this, like, if you watch the travel channels like I do, there are so many islands around the United States. Off, like, Alabama has a set of islands. Like, you're just
Who
like,
knew?
who knew?
And a lot of these states have some amazing cultural aspects that,
Absolutely, yeah.
we did a whole thing in Arizona. Remember, we drove through, and I took Zara to Oregon and all of that.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's important, because a lot of people may be listening to this show thinking, well, I can't afford to go to the Maldives, or I can't afford, but you might be able to afford to drive to Alabama or Mississippi or North Carolina or Michigan. I mean, there are so many islands resort type places around this country, and not just the big fancy ones, right? You'd be surprised at how many undiscovered places that you can get to very affordably and have this same process of healing, of transformation, of release, of rejuvenation. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be water. Everybody doesn't like water.
Right.
I do.
I love water.
But everybody doesn't. Some people like the mountains. Some people like city getaways. Some people want to be in the hustle and bustle of downtown, but then feel this complete bubble around them, right? So it's figure out what works for you, and then explore that in a way that works for you and you can afford, because then you don't want to be stressed because you can't pay the rent next month.
Okay, because I know some people like that.
That's a very good point, and it's one of the things that I recognize in my travel when I talk to people, and I'm always talking internationally. And coming up in December, I'm doing what I'm calling a self-care beach weekend in Pompano Beach, Florida. And my goal is to do more of them domestically for those that want to travel but are afraid to travel internationally, or you can't afford to travel internationally, is to do some things locally where women can meet up and have the same experience without all the stress of necessarily having to fly a long distance or spend a lot of money. So I definitely agree with you on domestic travel. And when I look at my passport, I'm like, there are about 20 states that I haven't been through yet. So I still have some touring to do here at home.
That's
and
good.
the great thing about travel is, as chaotic as the politics are here in the United States, traveling abroad really allows you to appreciate being a U.S. citizen and the freedoms that we have. So
That's very
I
true.
do encourage people to travel for that very reason, because you have a better appreciation for what we have, paved roads, for example.
Hello.
Water.
Yeah.
You know, it's just an amazing thing that travel does. It just opens your mind to the possibility, and it allows you to step into who you really are and what your purpose is in life and what you were made for.
I like that.
Shay, as we close out here, can you just add any tidbits on drive it home with your mission about Black Girls on the Go, the purpose of its healing, and just anything you'd want anyone to know about your organization and about yourself?
Well, I want people to know that healing is possible. Regardless of what you've been through, you can rewrite the next chapter of your life, whether that's through travel, whether that's through walking in your neighborhood, picking up a hobby, doing aerobics, whatever it is. And sisterhood is very important. I've encountered a lot of women that don't have positive relationships with other Black women, but having positive relationships with other Black women is vital to your growth.
Say that one more time for them girls that be like, I don't trust women.
It is vital to your growth. We learn so much from one another. We are our sister's keeper.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and I think that's the one thing I would want to leave people with when you think about Black Girls on the Go. Think about sisterhood.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Dr. Worster, what would you say from just a psychological standpoint, and how we can utilize travel in a form of healing and, your old doctor thing?
Yeah. I think I want to re-emphasize that fun can be a pathway to healing. We think so many times about clinical, we talk about therapy, we talk about all these things, but if you can't have fun, like laughter is good for the soul, right?
Yes.
And so having fun, if that's travel for you, that's fantastic. That might be baseball. Like, I know some friends that, like, if they don't get on a pickup softball team every year, they are miserable, right? So figure out what used to bring that spark in your eye when you were a little kid. If it was, a lot of Black women are starting double Dutch leagues, right?
Really?
Yes, all around the country.
I can't double dutch, but I love me a single jump. I can do the.
And that's why, look, that's that white part. That's that white. I'm sorry.
Tap into what brings
Y'all
you
be how
joy.
Black people try to diminish my blackness.
I did. I received it. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Tap into that joy. What is fun?
Yeah.
What would bring you fun? And then do that.
Absolutely.
I love that. I'm thinking I got two things. I got two things. I'm bringing it back, right? So the first thing, like, I love this idea. I love like the concept of fun, because for so long in my life I didn't prioritize fun and joy. So like this show is what we do for fun. This is our like this is our fun thing for every week. And
Oh, that's like what you told Ed Gordon. No, we're just doing it for fun.
that's another off air conversation. And he like went in. He was like, "Well, this is serious business." I was like, "All right," but this is our joy time, and this is our sister time. Like when all three of us are here, and Rodney, we sister brother time. It feels like family. So I get that sisterhood, that community. I love that, and then just learning to build. For me, the second thing is I want to build a life that I want to live, not a life that I want to escape from.
Yeah.
So if travel is something I love, then I want to build that into my life. So I'm inspired that you found a way to do it as a business, as a like part of your life. So kudos, very inspired. Thank you for coming.
I think I would just say that, I think travel is a great way to continue to discover, or at least start to discover who you are.
Yeah.
For me, I really, really believe in people figuring out what do you like, what don't you like, and really just knowing, what that means to you. And if you don't like to travel, then you don't like to travel. If you do, then you do, and accepting the differences in other people that, that person may not want to go anywhere, and that has to be okay. So I love the fact that this is encouraging women to discover more about themselves, discover a place of healing, and just going through life in a better place of one having to be able to see what sisterhood can look like, then also more seeing themselves. So thank you so much again. We loved having you on, and we out.
All right now.